As we start to leave the Susquehanna station, and in case you're wondering, that field on our left is growing tobacco and corn. Tobacco on the left, corn and weeds on the right. As we leave the Susquehanna station, let's wave goodbye to Patrick, our station master here today. Thank you, Patrick. And we're moving further into our porches and parlors district. And the white building you see on the left is the Susquehanna Plantation House. Built in 1835, it was located in the Tidewater region of Maryland. It was part of an 700 acre plantation where they grew wheat and tobacco, and they also had 65 enslaved individuals who worked the plantation. Now the reddish colored building on our left was the Plimpton family home. It's the oldest American-made home in the village, built in 1640 in South Sudbury, Massachusetts. And here's the Ferris windmill, the oldest windmill in the U.S., built in the mid-1600s on the north shore of Cape Cod. And next door to that is our Jagged Farmhouse, built in 1754 in Coventry, Connecticut. It's an example of rural living in colonial America, and our presenters can talk to you about what life was like back in those early colonial days. Now to the right is the Ford Motor Company test track, and to the left is our horse pasture area. This is where we bring our horses after they've been pulling wagons and carriages. And you can see one of our horses, two of our horses by the barn area. Those are Percheron horses. That's the breed that we use to do our wagon pulling here because they're a very hardy and strong animal. Now the locomotive pulling our train today is called the Torch Lake. It's the oldest regularly operating steam locomotive in the U.S. Built in 1873, it was originally used in Michigan's Upper Peninsula by the Kelly International Mining Company. The mining company would use it to pull railroad cars loaded with copper ore. Now at the far end of the test track, you can see that large barn-like building. That's the test track and test route. That's the practice facility for the Detroit Lions. And you can, to the left of that, you can see a couple of towers poking their heads above the tree line. And those towers are part of the Gordie Howe International Bridge that should be opening sometime after the Lions win the Super Bowl. And I'm going to stop talking for a few moments, let you sit back and enjoy the ride as we enter the forest area here at the far end of Greenfield Village. You may wonder what our locomotive just here is. That's what we call a blowdown. And what they're trying to do is to blow out the impurities and scales that tend to build up inside the boiler of the locomotive. Restoration area, the largest of its kind, here in southeastern Michigan. Here, the Henry Ford, along with state and local units of government, work together to restore the Rouge River to its natural condition. And you can see that part of the river on the right-hand side below us. And you'll notice it does have natural river banks down there. Not too far from here, the Rouge River actually has cement sides. That was done for flood control, but over here, we're keeping things natural. Henry Ford has also planted hundreds of trees in the area, and we now have a small herd of deer here, along with raccoons, possums, squirrels, and turkeys. We're now entering the Walnut Grove area. This is our special event field, and on the left you'll see the markings of a baseball diamond. That's because on Saturdays and Sundays throughout the summer, our vintage baseball teams, the Wanidas and the Nationals, play ball here. They take on teams from other parts of Michigan, and they play historic baseball. In other words, they play the game according to rules written back in 1867. Now those rules tell you that a fielder cannot wear a glove. He has to catch the ball with his bare hands. And we're now approaching the Henry Ford Academy. This is a public charter school open to students who live in Wayne County, Michigan. We have about 500 students who attend the academy during the school year, and they're grades 9 through 12. Ninth graders take their classes up at the Henry Ford Museum, while 10th, 11th, and 12th graders have their classes down in this area. And we're now approaching a rather unique set of classrooms. These are railroad Pullman cars, and they've been converted into classrooms for use by our seniors. Here they take classes in math and English. And on the other side of the classrooms is the Swanee Lagoon, a catch basin for water overflow here in the village. And in a moment or two, you're going to hear the signal that our locomotive engineer gives as we approach a railroad crossing. 2 long blasts on the whistle, 1 short blast and 1 long blast. The Taste of History, a cafeteria-style restaurant, and it's open from 9:30 until 4, and serves lunch between 11 and 3. Next door to the large white building is the Eagle Tavern. It's also a restaurant, and it too serves lunch between 11 and 3, and features a menu that dates back to the 1850s. And we're now approaching our Spitz Creek station. We're going to stop up here for 4 minutes. We'll be able to exit on the left. Once we come to a complete stop, and the engineer blows the whistle. Alright, please remain seated until you hear the train whistle. We don't get out there.